Thank you so much for clicking on this video. This specific song by FAOUZIA was requested quite a bit. You guys suggested that I watch her original music video plus the stripped version plus an orchestral version, and I'm excited, especially since it looks like a very unique way of communicating the concept of the message with the video game characters. So let's get started. But before we do, if you enjoy what you're about to see, thumbs up, subscribe with the notifications bell on, and make sure to put your requests in the comments below with links. I would love for you to do that. With that out of the way, let's get started. That's so cool. Such a cool design, both the costumes and
few things I really have to know before I go and let you in. Don't wanna be rational and make the same mistakes again.
Already I can tell she's playing with vocal colors. I watched a reaction video to one of her Tears of Gold performances, which you can check out my reaction to right here, of two separate performances. And the vocal coach that was talking about her was talking about an Italian concept where someone was having a really good balance between the darkness and lightness of the voice, and being able to play around with both concepts at different parts of their range. And she's already doing that. When she hit that F note, she made it sound a little lighter. She also went just the slightest bit heavier on that same note by the end of the second half of the verse.
Would you be there 5 a.m. on a weekend, through the thick and the thin, never second guessing with you before I go and let you in?
See, a little lighter.
Don't wanna be rational and make the same mistakes again. Would you be?
And then right there with a little bit more depth. What I can't wrap my head around is the fact that she's able to do such riffs with such clarity, because I am pretty agile myself, but I don't know how to make riffs and runs I attempt sound clean. I don't know how to make it sound crisp and distinct between each note. She's got 10 times more experience with doing that than I do, so I'm just like in awe about it.
Be there 5 a.m. on a weekend, through the thick and the thin, never second guessing with you. Don't wanna wake up wishing I never gave love, wishing I never gave trust, knowing it wasn't true. If I was your hero, would you be mine? I know this ain't a fairy tale, this is real life, but if I were to save you, would you do the same and catch me if I'm falling, 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 falling? If I was your hero, would you be mine? I know this ain't a fairy tale, this is real life, but if I were to save you, would you do the same and catch me if I'm falling, 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 falling? Maybe I'm better off alone, that's what my mind is saying. I think I've been through it too much, so you gotta assure that this love's short. Would you be there 5 a.m. on a weekend, through the thick and the thin, never second guessing with you? Don't wanna wake up wishing I never gave love, wishing I never gave trust, knowing it wasn't true. If I was your hero, would you be mine? I know this ain't a...
I also love how with each character she's giving a different vibe about them. The very first one, she was acting more peppy, perky, and just bubbly than any of the other characters. And then as she transitioned from that to the water skier, she was just like chilling. And then this one, she's so stoic that she's looking into you with intensity about these questions instead of trying to be flamboyant like she was with the first character. It's so masterful, not just with her voice and the fact that she's able to be so fluid with such a small range and make so much out of such a small range like that, but also she's able to act so well by giving these different characters different vibes about them that would come about these questions with different intentions and emotions behind it. It's so brilliant.
Fairy tale, this is real life.
white dress.
Catch me if I'm falling, 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 falling. You got my heart on its knees and it's begging you, please don't go. Oh, and I'll be fine if you leave, but I'm hoping this time you won't. Oh, if I was your hero, would you be mine? I know this ain't a fairy tale, this is real life. But if I were to save you, would you do the same? And catch me if I'm falling, 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 falling. If I was your hero, would you be mine? I know this ain't a fairy tale.
Did she just whistle? I gotta rewind that.
If I were to save you, would you do the same? And catch me if I'm falling, 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 falling. If I was your hero, would you be mine?
Yes, she is. Dang girl, you look
This
good.
is real life, but if I were to save you, would you do the same? And catch me if I'm falling, 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 falling.
That's really cool. That was really cool.
Few things I really have to know before I go and let you in. Don't wanna be rushing no and make the same mistakes again. Would you be there 5 a.m. on a weekend through the thick and the thin, never second guessing with you? Don't wanna wake up wishing I never gave love, wishing I never gave trust, knowing it wasn't true. If I
Okay, sounds like we're just about to enter a very tender moment within the song, but I just wanted to say, with this orchestral version, it provides so much more space for me to hear her diction. It's not that I couldn't understand what she was singing or what the lyrics were if I tried a little harder. And it's not like I couldn't understand her at all, but there was so much more going on visually and audibly that it was just noise concealing it the slightest bit more than this version. With the orchestral version right here, it provides more space for her to add that clarity. And I highly doubt that this is auto-tuned. I really don't think it would be, which is why I'm just like impressed at her pitch accuracy in general. Love it so far. I can't wait to hear what this tender moment has to offer.
was your hero, would you be mine? I know this ain't a fairy tale, this is real life. But if I were to save you, would you do the same? And catch me if I'm falling, 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 falling. If I was your hero, would you be mine? I know this ain't a fairy tale, this is real life. But if I were to save you, would you do the same? And catch me if I'm falling, 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 falling. Maybe I'm better off alone. At least that's what my mind is saying.
Nice. Within the first part of that run was a chest mix instead of pure chest voice, which allowed her to transition into her head voice by the next 3 notes. There were 5 notes total. Within the first 2, she used chest mix and then used that mix to transition into her head voice for the last 3. That's 2 in 1, which is what makes it so impressive. And it's so her, how she's able to transition so well. I'm surprised she's not as famous as Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, Celine Dion, Christina Aguilera, all the likes, because she definitely deserves it, and she definitely has as much vocal control within those different vocal registers as those people.
I think I've been through way too much, so you gotta show.
In fact, I'll just take a listen to that run again.
I think at least that's what my mind is saying.
See, she lightened it up a little bit and then used that to transition into her head voice.
Think I've been through way too much, so you gotta show this love short. Would you be there 5 a.m. on a weekend, through the thick and the thin, never second guessing with you? Don't wanna wake up wishing I never gave my love, wishing I never gave trust, knowing it wasn't true.
And I love for that moment how she was able to just make it not really thicken it up down there, but just make it so much warmer. Add a little bit more mouth to it and just dropping the tongue a little bit in the back of her mouth so that she could make it a little more warm and rich at the same time. It wasn't just beefing the bottom up. She was also doing it to make it sound a little warmer.
If I was your hero, would you be mine? I know this ain't a fairy tale, this is real life. But if I were to save you, would you do the same? And catch me if I'm falling, 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 falling. If I was your hero, would you be mine? I know this ain't a fairy tale, this is real life. But if I were to save you, would you do the same? And catch me if I'm falling, 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 falling. You got my...
Sorry, I hate when it does that. I try to pause it and then it turns it into double speed. Like, no. Just going back to show you how amazing her transitions can be as well, because every time she goes, I know this ain't a fairy tale, this is real life, she flips up into her head voice and then smoothly transitions back down to her chest voice by the end note. Just how she has those options available to her anytime she wants, and how she placed them in that order within these two lines. It's just brilliant.
And falling. If I was your hero, would you be mine? I know this ain't a fairy tale, this is real life. But if I were to save you, would you do the same? And catch me if I'm falling, 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 falling. You got my heart on its knees and it's begging you, please don't go. Oh, and I'll be fine if you leave, but I'm hoping this time you won't. Whoa. Will you be mine?
That's the lightest I've ever heard her sing such a high note for her voice. That is genius. It is also just like so masterful at the vocal colors she has available to her. Dead serious. Because for a mezzo to be able to go that high, usually you have to go full blast. But somehow when she goes up there, she also is able to lighten it up the slightest bit. It doesn't sound too harsh at all either. Okay, this might be the first time I transition my opinion from mezzo to regular soprano for her, because only someone who is able to have such ease and access with such high notes is able to pull off something like that. A true mezzo can only sound harsh up there. It's just so hard to define what her true voice type is, because she has the depth of a mezzo, sometimes even a contralto, and then she's able to go up the way a soprano would. It's just, and even have the same vocal colors and qualities at certain moments. It's just so amazing. I don't even know what to think. I don't know what it is, and sometimes I just don't know where she really sits, because it sounds like she can sit anywhere comfortably in her range.
I know this ain't a fairy tale, this is real life. If I were to save you, falling, 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 falling.
Nice vibrato on that too. That is really difficult to achieve in whistle.
Would you do the same? And catch me if I'm falling, 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 falling.
This is the only stripped version I could find. I don't think there's a stripped version on her channel, so I just decided to do the iSessions version with it as live single take. Let's see how she does. I think she's gonna do awesome. Really like it.
Few things I really have to know before I go and let you in. Don't wanna be rational and make the same mistakes again. Would you be there 5 a.m. on a weekend, through the thick and the thin, never second guessing with you? Don't wanna wake up wishing I never gave love, wishing I never gave trust, knowing it wasn't true. If I was your hero.
If she's soprano, she's definitely on the lower end, who just happens to have a high extension that she can access at any time she wants, because she's just trained every bit of her range she can expand and lean into any part of her voice with ease. If she's soprano, she's definitely on the deeper, richer end, who just happens to be able to sing high with ease. And if she's a mezzo, she's on the lighter, brighter end, who just happens to also sing low with ease. I don't know which one, so now that that's out of the way, I just wanted to say she sounds so much more into the emotion and the seriousness of the message, because the song Hero is about, would you love me if I love you, essentially. And that is a very grave thing for you to get the answer from someone if you wanted to date them or become their lover. And it sounds like she's richening up and warming up her tone of voice through this entire thing, because she's getting, as a natural byproduct, honestly, because she's just getting into the seriousness of the message when she's performing this. The other two times, she was smiling through it all, putting on some sort of entertainment, not really a facade, but an entertainment face for those two performances. Obviously, the official music video isn't a performance, but the lip syncing is, and overall, it was still just her singing. But this one sounds like she's getting into it, and her voice is following that decision.
Would you be mine? I know this ain't a fairy tale, this is real life. But if I were to save you, would you do the same? And catch me if I'm falling, 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 falling. If I was your hero, would you be mine? I know this ain't a fairy tale, this is real life. But if I were to save you, would you do the same? And catch me if I'm falling, 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 falling. Maybe I'm better off alone. At least that's what my mind is saying.
Just how she's able to dig in like that to her lowest notes with such the huskiest, beefiest, most manly approach to her bottom. And I also love how she used her finger. I don't know if this was the case, but I do know that when it comes to riffs and runs, it's easy to use your finger to direct your riffs and runs properly, and they can also help you in case you're in a place, either vocally or mentally, where you might make it sound muddy instead of crisp. So I don't know if she was doing it because of that, but it definitely added a nice effect. And it's also a great way in case you are in a vocal or mental state where it would be difficult to make them sound crisp. So the fingers can help with that. That's what I'm trying to say.
I think I've been through it too much, so you gotta show.
Okay, it was just perfect. She was not gonna struggle at all.
Never second guessing with you. Don't wanna wake up wishing I never gave my love, wishing I never gave trust, knowing it wasn't true. If I was your hero, would you be mine? I know this ain't a fairy tale, this is real life. But if I were to save you, would you do the same? And catch me if I'm falling, 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 falling. If I was your hero, would you be mine? I know this ain't a fairy tale, this is real life. But if I were to save you, would you do the same? And catch me if I'm falling, falling, falling. You got my heart on its knees and it's
she goes again, making it sound so much lighter than the past few times. So serious. Maybe it's also just the fact that she's in a mix. I don't know. I seriously don't know, but it definitely sounds more soprano when she does it lightly like that. And it confuses the crap out of me because I don't know if she's a soprano or a mezzo.
No, this ain't a fairy tale, this is real life. If I were to save you, falling, 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 falling. No, this ain't a fairy tale, this is real life. But if I were to save you, would you do the same? And catch me if I'm falling, 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 falling.
That's what I have to say for all three performances. If you enjoyed this as much as I did analyzing it, then make sure to subscribe with the notifications bell on for more, because I'm definitely going to assume that there's more epicness to come from her as time goes on. I've also heard that the most recent thing she's done is La La La, so if you want me to do that, you know what to do. Put those requests in the comments. And if you can provide the links, I can find it myself. If you don't, but they help me out, so please do so if you can. Make sure to subscribe for more, and I'll see y'all next time.